Hey, it's a short video this week on FlyWire. I've been super busy lately, so I'm going to kind of do a grab bag of stuff. Basically, what I'm going to do is give you a quick update on a couple of different things and do a mailbag. In other words, I'm going to copy CW Lemoyne and I'm just going to read some of my answer some of the mail or some of the comments that I've had on videos here just recently. So stick with us on FlyWire. Hey, I'm Scott Perdue, and today on FlyWire, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a mailbag, and I'm also going to give you a quick update on a couple of things. So the first one is why no update number 4 on the engine change on Charlie. Well, the delay now is, I guess, my mistake. I got the engine several months ago, and I got it from a outfit that does mostly turbos. And probably 99% of their stuff is turbos. And the case it came in was broken. You know, the shipping crate was broken, so I inspected the engine to see if it wasn't damaged, and it wasn't. So that was about it. And then I started, just because I didn't have time to do the engine change at that time, plus I didn't have all the little bits and pieces. So I spent months collecting those things. The supply chain kind of affected that in surprising ways. But I finally got all this stuff, and then a couple of weeks ago, it's like, here's my time slot to do the engine. So I pressed. And so the last one, I think, was the painting of the engine compartment. I got that all done, and I'll show you a picture of the finished finished compartment right now as compared to the old one. And then I started looking at the engine about, I'm going to put the baffling on, and I noticed that there's a couple of missing bits. The crossover intake tube crossover that comes from the throttle body was gone, was not there, as well as the throttle body itself. And I guess that makes sense when you're doing a turbo because you don't use those things. You use different things. So I'm going to reuse the throttle or the crossover tube I have, which means I got to clean it up and I got to paint it too. But the throttle body I needed overhauled, and so I sent it to the folks that I bought it from, and they're doing the overhaul. But it went from I'd be putting the engine in this week, like today, to I'm not sure when that's going to happen. It just depends on this shop when they get to my throttle body to overhaul it. So there is my delay, and more to come on that. So I've also, with the extra time this week, I've been focusing on a few things, and I've been super busy, and I just haven't had time to do anything. The steerman's down for a bad mag, and so that's a hassle. And I'm focusing on the Husky to get it ready for the big trip to Idaho and Utah that's coming up in June. So I look for updates on that. So I'm going to meet Juan Brown and probably in Boise, I think, somewhere around there. At least that's the plan right now. More to come later. So I haven't had ADSB. I've been waiting for the Tail Beacon X. I put AV30s in, and they're going to control the Tail Beacon X, which serves as the transponder, the WAS GPS, and the ADSB out. Pretty cool, but what a hassle it is fishing wire down through the Husky. It's just not made for it. But as of just a few minutes ago, I got it all wired and ready to test. I usually put jumpers on things to make sure I got it right before I wire everything up and put it back together again. In case I screwed it up and I got to take it apart. Like that never happens. So I'm do a report on that later on. But I'm also, I think I'm going to buy, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to buy an MT Ultra prop for the airplane. And it may or may not make it before the trip. And I do want to do a speed test because I've been planning on it with the prop, with the Husky with the prop it has, and I haven't done it yet. So I got to get that done before I put the MT prop on, and then I'll do a report on that and see how good the MT works. So everything's down right now, and I got some other great big news that I'm working on. A few people know about it, but more to come on that maybe next week. if it works out. So sorry about that, and with no further ado, I think what I'll do is like I said, copy C.W. Lemoyne. And so the first one is from this fellow must have been binging my a bunch of my videos, because he's replied on dozens here lately, a guy named Rensler. Anyway, he's replying to the J35 power on stall spin. He says, my theory, he was practicing spins and for some reason jammed the power on in the spin thinking it would pull out of the spin. And that created an aggravated spin. Well, power is a pro spin input, and that's how you do flat spins, is you spin the airplane and then out aileron and power, and that gives you a flat spin. And it says he may have gone into panic mode and just forgot to cut the throttle. Hitting the rudder would not help. It's true, it wouldn't necessarily recover, probably not recover in that situation. A flat spin with pro spin inputs is unrecoverable. You got to take the pro spin inputs out. But my theory is practicing spins. Well, the 35 series Bonanza it passed its certification requirement for spins, one turn after a one-turn spin, but one-turn recovery after a one-turn spin, but it is not certified for spins. You don't go out and practice spins in a 35 or 33 or a 36 series Bonanza, any Bonanza, except for the aerobatic Bonanzas, like the F33C or the E33C. So I don't think your theory's right, Renzer. Sorry about that. Another one he did is he looked at the 836 Bonanza engine failure on takeoff, impossible turn or turn back. His comment was, I tried this at home. Okay, but then he says on a simulator. Okay, no offense to you simulator guys out there, but when you do that and you're not in the airplane, you don't have the ground rush, you don't have the noise and the descent rates, the reality, the physical reality around you, I don't think it counts. Sorry. I've got a lot of simulator time in real Class D simulators, and they have their usefulness. I mean, they're really good at teaching procedures and emergencies and systems, but they're not good for teaching extreme maneuvers. They're just not. Rensler also. First aerobatic ride, not nervous at all, was the video, and he says, my first aerobatic lesson was in a pit special, had a massive headache for the rest of the day. Yeah, that happens, especially the first time you experience something like that. But let's see. Here's another one. Like I said, he did dozens of these. This is on the Icarus view limiting device. He said, this device is a great check for VFR and IMC. The pilot can safely drop you in unexpected. And that is true. I didn't mention that kind of thing. Is VFR and IMC is one of the biggest killers for loss of control in flight. And that's true. That would be a good thing to practice with. It just needs to be a little less cumbersome, the device. All right, this one was on the Dynavibe GX3 prop balance I did on the A36. Hello, Scott. This is Bob Ramidi. He says, I'm interested in how you attach the optical pickup and the accelerometer to the engine. I enjoy and appreciate all your videos. They make me think a lot about GA safety and educate me on aircraft mechanicals. So how you attach that? Well, it's actually pretty simple, and Dynavibe has directions on how to do that. And for Continental, you take one of it's an A3 bolt that holds the case together, and you take that and put the mount as long as you do one, you're fine. But you do the mount so it looks at the back of the spinner, and you have a reflective piece of tape that you put on the back of the spinner, and it has a little laser, and it looks for those laser pulses, and that's how it figures out what's happening. And it's got an accelerometer in it as well. So, let's see. This is becoming a safer pilot. NB says, I've been watching Dan as well and still can't understand why he's so controversial. Okay, that's cool. If you don't think he is, then he's not to you, and that's fine. And I like Dan. He's a pretty good guy, but he can turn the flame on. And what I'm saying is that sometimes when you turn the flame on, people stop listening. And Dan's really got some really good ideas and good messages, but sometimes it gets caught up and burned in the flame on routine. Here's a good one, I think. This is from father-daughter flights, which is pretty cool, I think. I did a lot. I like flying with my daughter as well. This is becoming safer pilot. Father-daughter flight says, solid goal every time I go up. Don't end up on FlyWire probable cause. Yeah, that's probably a good way to approach your decision making in flying. Same video, pen name, and that A. I'm not sure what that does, but ludicrous definition of a safe pilot, because the most important thing is to avoid the emergency, like causing a car crash and then bragging how great you are at first aid. Okay, I think a pen name and that A doesn't get the point at all. Okay, the point is that to really truly avoid the emergency, you can't just ignore it. It's like the proverbial bird sticking its head in the sand to avoid what the reality is out there. The reality is the reality, and when you're flying an airplane, you operate in a world that's physically different than the one we're used to, the one we grow up in here on the ground in 2D. When you're 3D in the airplane, you are dealing with physics that is definitely different. And if you don't have experience in those areas where you fall off the edge of the world, you're more likely to fall off the edge of the world. The point is that with experience and with training, that's how you avoid that emergency, okay? That's my whole point. Training does everything. So keep your ludicrous definition, but thanks for watching. RAEL, talking about my engine change on Charlie, he says, I admire A&P mechanics who take on big jobs on their aircraft, even if they don't do heavy maintenance on a regular basis. Just go by the book and be as meticulous with your wrenches as when you were flying, and that's what I try to do. This isn't my first rodeo for changing an engine, but I don't do it all the time. But I'll take my time and I'll do it right, and I work slow. So anyway, hope you like that, and I'll do some more of these mailbags. They're actually kind of fun, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time on FlyWire.